So this is function notation, and how it works is before you have seen where it says evaluate when x equals -1, what you would do is you substitute the -1 in, so you'd get -3 times -1, which is 3, plus 6, which equals y equals 9. Well, now when we're using function notation, it's called f of x, and what that means is that it's equal to -3x plus 6, so that's your y. So what you're going to do is you're going to substitute that in. So it's f of -1, so it's -3 times -1 plus 6 is f of x equals 9. Same answer, same steps. So if g of x is equal to 3x minus 7 and h of x is equal to 2x squared plus 8 and f of x is equal to absolute value of x, find the value of each function below. So because this is g of 2, that means you're going to use this formula because it's a g. So it's going to be g of 2 equals 3x minus 7. So g of 2 is equal to 3 times 2 minus 7. So g of 2 is going to equal 6 minus 7, which is -1. So g of 2 is equal to -1. Now, because this is f of -2.5, we're going to use this formula. So we have f of -2.5 is equal to the equation, the absolute value of x. You're now going to substitute that in. So it's equal to -2.5, the absolute value. Anything in an absolute value is always going to be positive. So it's going to be f of -2.5 is going to be equal to positive 2.5. So our next equation is h of -4. So we have h of -4. We're going to use this equation because it's an h, and it's going to be equal to 2x squared plus 8. So what's going to happen is it's going to be h times -4 is equal to 2 times -4 squared plus 8. So because of PEMDAS, you want to make sure that you do the parentheses first. So it's -4 squared, which is going to give you 16. So it'd be 2 times a positive 16 plus 8 is equal to h of -4. Now 2 times 16 is going to give you 32 plus 8, which is going to be h of -4 is equal to 40. Now our last one is g of 7c minus 1. So we're going to use the g of x equation. So we have g of 7c minus 1 is equal to 3x minus 7. We have g of 7c minus 1 is equal to 3 times 7c minus 1 minus 7. So we have g of 7c minus 1 is equal to 3 times 7c is 21c minus 3, because 3 times -1 is -3, minus 7. So the only thing you can combine is the -3 and -7. So it's g of 7c minus 1 is equal to 21c minus 10. Now this last part says find the value of g of -3 minus f of 7 plus h of 0. So we're going to go back to those original equations in the beginning, and we're going to figure out what each value is and then do the operations in between. So g of -3 means that we're going to use this formula. So we have it equal to 3 times -3 minus 7. So we're going to do our first equation. So g of -3 is equal to -9 minus 7. So g of -3 is equal to -16. So we know that one first. Now we have f of 7, which is f of 7 is going to be the absolute value equation. So absolute value of 7, which is actually just 7. So f of 7 is equal to 7. And then our last one is h of 0 So we're going to use h of x is equal to 2x squared plus 8. So 2 times 0 squared plus 8. 0 squared is 0 times 2 is going to be 0. So h of 0 is equal to 0 plus 8, which h of 0 is going to be equal to 8. So now it wants you to take whatever that value is, g of negative 3, subtract it from f of 7, add it to h of 0. So we have negative 16 minus 7, because we're taking g minus f, and then plus 8. So we have negative 16 minus 7 plus 8, which is going to give us a negative 15. And that's going to be our final answer.